Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Wendy Jo, and I am going to be showing you today what it looks like with 6 months invested in a brand new business. I started this experiment basically May the 1st. So, what I did was I created a Shopify store to sell the digital products. And then, because I no longer sell personally on Etsy, I have someone else that I gave all of the exact same products to. And she is running an Etsy store. And she gives me access so that I can go in and look at all the numbers and compare the two platforms on all the things. So, all the fees, all the things that get taken care of inside of Etsy versus what you have to do inside of Shopify. And it's been super interesting and super eye-opening. And I've actually learned some things along the way. Um, so I've been sharing my results for 5 months. This is my 6th month review of everything. So we're going to dig not only into the numbers for October and what those look like, but I'm also going to show you what 6 months of a brand new business in the digital download area is looks like. I wanted to show you this for two reasons. One is I always hear, oh, that it's oversaturated. You can't make any money selling digital products, yada yada yada, unless you're selling courses or ebooks or something like that. And so I wanted to obviously prove that wrong, which I think I have. And then I also just wanted to kind of cut out all of the mystery, the questions of, is Etsy a good place to run your business? Should you have a Shopify store? Is it possible to drive traffic to a Shopify store without paying a whole bunch of money? So that is all the things that we're going to dig in today. So we're going to look at the month of October in review for Etsy and Shopify. We're going to look at how much we made on both platforms. We are going to look at a 6-month in-depth review of both platforms, Etsy and Shopify. I'm also going to show you a couple of updates that I made to my spreadsheet of some things that I was not understanding correctly in how I was figuring out some of the numbers, and it kind of does shift the balance a little bit. I'm also going to share with you what I have done to market the Shopify store. And the next video that's coming out after this one is going to really dive into how we have grown in 6 months a brand new baby business to get over, I can't think it's over 30,000 store sessions and made over $15,000 on a brand new Shopify store with no paid advertising. So that's all that we're going to be jumping into today, and then also in that next follow-up video. So make sure that you like and subscribe, and let's jump into all the fun. So we're going to jump in first to Etsy stats. I'm going to show you my spreadsheet, and I'm also going to show you the Shopify spreadsheets, and then I'm going to actually go into the websites and show you where I find my numbers and how you can also do the spreadsheet as well. So I have added a couple of columns to this one that were not in the original spreadsheet. I got this original spreadsheet from Dina Liu because I liked her basic layout and I didn't feel like creating one. So she had a free download, so I subscribed to her channel. And so anyway, so that's where I got this from. So as you can see, October, I added quite a few new listings. So we got up to 58 listings in her Etsy shop. She had 1,603 visits. So that's the highest number of visits besides in June. The conversion rate, you guys, was incredible. Again, the highest since May. And total number of orders, I believe second highest. So June again beat us 91 and 80. Total revenue according to Etsy was 967.16. VAT and taxes taken out was 4603. I do not know why this number is here because this is incorrect. I don't know what this is. I wasn't figuring all of this until this month. I started adding this in to the layout because I found it. I found it in there and realized that they were not that was part of why I was having some discrepancies over on this end of things. So the VAT and taxes that Etsy withheld, which I never see this because Etsy files your taxes for you. So that is one plus for Etsy is they do all of your taxes for you. So just keep that in mind. On-site ad spend, again, was $30.86. We have kept this at just $1 a day for her shop, and it has done pretty well other than so August and September was dismal. And then I say August and September. Let me look at this. So $13.93 on on-site ads. And then in September, it was $19.48 in on-site ads is how much she made from it. So she actually lost money these 2 months. But then this last month, so I had her make a couple of adjustments inside of the Etsy ads. I had her go through and look at the column that tells you the spend versus what you've actually made in revenue. And I'm going to go in and show you this really fast because I want you guys to know where this is at. When you go into your shop, you're going to go under marketing. And then when you click marketing, you're going to go to Etsy ads. And then you're going to have to go in and choose last month or whatever you want that to look like. Hang on just a second. I'm going to make this switch just for a second because I feel like it's not quite accurate. Okay, so last month. So this shows you how many views were on your Etsy ads, how many clicks, how many orders, the revenue versus the spend. And so last month, the spend was the $30.86 and the revenue was $101.10. So the click-through rate on that, you guys, was on on-site ads was 10%, the conversion rate. That's incredible, which I finally figured out how to get these numbers and to figure them accurately. So I will show you guys that too. So in order to get that click-through rate, I was dividing it correctly, which it's the amount of orders divided by the amount of clicks. So like on that screen, it was 7 orders to like 110 clicks. But then when you divide it, it gives you a decimal. And I don't even know, for some reason, I was putting the decimal as the percentage. But if you know math, if you get a decimal like 0.06%, or 0.06, then as a percentage, you move the decimal 2 spots over, which makes it 6%. So that makes much more sense on the click-through rate than the 0.06% that I had on there before. So that is how you figure your percentages. So the amount of orders divided by the amount of clicks gives you the decimal, and then you move the decimal 2 places over and you have the percentage. So the click-through rate was 10% on those on-site ads, which is just incredible. And then if you go down here, this is how you can tell what you're spending versus what you're making. So like on this product, I'm watching this because if this revenue does not tick up this month, then I may turn off the ads on this particular item. Like this one, I have ads turned on this one, but we've spent nothing and we've also made nothing. So this is the spend, this is what you've made from it. So you can see that, you know, sometimes it's crazy good turnaround on those numbers. And then sometimes you're spending money and it's not benefiting you. And so that's where you can go ahead and go in and just click this and turn it off if it's not making you any money. And what I would recommend you do though, is like this is set up for the last 30 days. I would do custom like 90 days. So I would do like September the 1st through October 31st. Do a couple months or 3 months because you can see it changed up the amount that was here versus the amount that was here. And again, it kind of gives you a better overall look of what you're spending versus what profit is actually coming from it. So like this one, I would turn this one off because it's spending $5 and it's not getting any clicks from that. And so I would also use this as an indicator that the keywords or something might need to be changed on this to attract more buyers because people are looking at it and clicking on it, but they aren't buying it. So that is, you know, a good indicator that something is up with that. But, you know, looking at the larger span of days is helpful to see really what things look like better than just a 30-day view. So I recommend doing that whenever you are analyzing those numbers. But anyway, so the revenue from ad spend was $182.52 in October, and $101 came from on-site ads and $81.42 came from off-site ads. And the spend was only $12.23 on the off-site ads and a 6% conversion rate. Again, so really great conversion rates on the ads on Etsy. So this is an extra expenditure, but I think it's worth it for the turnaround that she's getting on the shop. Etsy fees were up there, $129.64, which this is a combination of 3 different numbers. And I'll put this screenshot up there, but it's the $21.40 in listing fees, then the $59.95 and the $48.29. So it's a combination of all of those fees. So then the net profit becomes $748.40, and that is exactly what was deposited in the account. And this is where, you know, a couple months we had weird discrepancies, and I think that I have fixed that by adding this column here, and then I can't remember what else I adjusted on here, but anyway, so difference in gross versus net is $218.76. So this is your true fee, all combined, everything all in, that you end up, and that includes the taxes that you had to pay. So from what you sold, like the numbers that it looks like versus what you received, to 1876. This is the 6-month numbers of net profit was 3828.91. So in 6 months, just under $4,000 in profit on Etsy. And if you want to see the total amount sold, then that would be $4939.80. So almost $5,000 in sales and almost $4,000 in net profit. So that's kind of where we're at there. All right, so let's jump over to Shopify and have a look. And you know what? I forgot to put the total number of listings. I believe it is 45 because, again, the number of listings on here is different than the number of listings that she has on Etsy, because on Etsy, there are 2 or 3 products that she has listed multiple times in different ways to kind of do like an A/B testing to see which one gets more sales. And then, she can kind of run with that as new products are created. All right. So October on Shopify, 45 listings, 8,334 visits. That is the most we have ever had. Conversion rate was 1.4%. So it's gone down a little bit each month. However, I'm excited to see what this month looks like. Our conversion rate is much higher. And I will tell you, one of the biggest things that I did that I feel like has been a huge help is I paid somebody on Fiverr $20 to adjust the speed of my store. It was so slow. It was like 39 was the speed score, and it's now at 90. And it literally cost me $20. And that was their most expensive package. And it's running beautifully. So, and I've heard that can really affect your conversion rate. So I'm super curious to see, because really there hasn't been any other changes besides that to the shop. So super curious to see. So conversion rate was 1.4. Total orders was 147. So not the highest number of orders that we've had. So it was 12 less orders than last month, but we made $200 more this month than we did the previous month. Taxes and VAT, I did not figure this into this spreadsheet. Starting next month, I will start adding the taxes and VAT in there, partly because the verbiage of the law has changed in the state of New Jersey. And so they now, and it's changed in several states, but they now charge taxes. Number one, you don't have to have a physical store anymore, physical presence. If you do business from your home, that counts. So they changed the verbiage there. So this is why it's important to consult with a tax professional whenever you are doing business, just to make sure. But so they changed the law there. So if you hit a certain threshold, so like if you sell over so many dollars worth of products, it doesn't matter if you have a physical store, if you're doing it from your house, you still have to charge tax to customers. Now, typically the tax will only be charged to somebody who lives within your state. It won't be charged to somebody that lives in a different state. That's how online tax stuff works typically now. They may change that again in 2 months, but right now that's how that is. So there's a threshold. I do not know what the threshold is for all 50 states. So that's why I'm just telling you, check with a tax professional, or at the very least, do some Googling to see what the numbers are for your state. See if you've hit the threshold. Our accountant, said that we had to make changes. So starting in November, we are having to collect tax, but it doesn't collect tax on everything. So digital goods, if it is a document template, it is not taxable. And so that's where it gets a little interesting. But like if it's a digital book or a digital art, I can't remember. There's different categories. So it depends on how you categorize your products as to whether or not that you have to collect tax on them. This would be the downfall of having Shopify, is you do have to figure your own taxes. I say figure. Really, Shopify makes it pretty easy to go in and set up your taxes so that you can, it will collect them for you. You then have to file every quarter to pay those taxes. You collect the money, you then have to pay it to somebody. And then the VAT taxes, we actually are doing those through a third-party company. They don't charge a monthly fee. They charge you a percentage of your transactions that they have to collect tax on, and then they file all of your taxes for you. I will link them up in the description. The company's called EAS, and they're fantastic. They're so easy to work with, and they help you, like they walk you through every step and take the confusion out of paying those VAT fees. So it's not that difficult. Yes, it's a little scary, but in the end, I still prefer Shopify over Etsy, and I'll kind of break that down at the end for you guys, but on my reasonings why. But anyway, so this would be one of them: $1,912 in sales versus 967. So over double again in sales on Shopify, and again, no ads, no nothing. So I've had a couple people ask me how I felt about this that we did back in June, if I feel like it has helped. And resounding no. I would not recommend the company. I really don't feel like we've seen an uptick of any kind from this other than traffic that is not real. So that would be my 2 cents on that. Shopify fees are up to $58 now, and that is because I pay $39 for the basic Shopify. And then I also pay $10 a month for Appstol, which is a subscription service that runs my membership on my Shopify store. And then I pay $9 a month for something called Locksmith, I believe is what it's called. And that is for my members only side of my site, so that members can log in and they get the products for free because they're a part of my membership. So, those are my Shopify fees that I pay every month, is the $58. And I think in the month of November, I'm going to switch to the annual Shopify fee. I should have done this a long time ago, but I was just starting out and wasn't sure that it was going to be like super successful. And so you can save like $120 a year if you switch to the annual fee. So I think it's like $312 is what it would cost me for a full year. So that's like a lot cheaper, a lot cheaper. So I'm going to switch to that. PayPal fees were $14.26. Offsite ad spend was nothing. Net profit was $1759.85. Profit increase month over month, thank the Lord, was $382.07. And the difference in gross versus net was $152.56. So this number here basically is your fees all in on Shopify for Shopify fees, the credit card fees, which I started adding those in as well, just so that we could get a more real number, because you do have to pay some credit card fees. Now, if they use Shopify Pay, you don't have a fee that you have to pay to them, but if they use other things, then they do. So this is credit card fees, this is Shopify fees, PayPal fees, net profit, and then that was the amount that was in the bank. And the difference was a $382 swing to the positive side versus last month, where we went from $3,098 down to $1,377. So this was a much better month, but $152.56 in fees for over double the revenue. That's what I want you guys to look at. So double the revenue, 1912 versus 967. So double the revenue, and the fees were 152 versus 218. So, a 50, 60, almost $70 swing towards Shopify. So is it worth it to have the Shopify store versus the Etsy store? Yes. Yes, it is. Again, no advertising other than on TikTok, creating videos, Pinterest, and then having good SEO. And I'm going to actually take you inside of the Shopify store now and show you what all of that looks like. So let's go into Shopify. So I want to show you the marketing by channel. So this inside of Shopify, it breaks down and tells you where your sales are coming from. And for the first month ever, the majority of our sales came from Google. And you guys, that is craziness. 19 first-time customers, 7 returning customers. Conversion rate is almost 6%, 26 orders for $735.61. And this is attributed to having good SEO on the website. They went in and they searched for a product, and our products came up first. And every time I get an order, it tells me that this order came from Google. So these are the top online store searches for the month of November: digital planner, mock-up, listing mock-up, planners, Airbnb, blue, honeymoon, welcome book, acuity scheduling template, pink, Christmas, hyperlinked, planners, all these things. That girl, And so that's just for 1 week of top online store searches. And obviously, you can change this to do a full month. But these are the keywords that people are searching for and finding my shop on Google. So this was last month inside of the shop. And again, you can see that the conversion rate was down. So, this again just kind of breaks everything down. And again, this is the interesting thing. Pinterest sessions up again by 9%, 5.6 thousand sessions. But sales from Pinterest were dismal. So let's go back into marketing because that's where that report is at. So our direct visits were 6,200 in sales. Google visits, 3,400 in sales. Direct to the store was 10,000 plus sessions. Google sessions were 1,643. And conversion rate on Google was over 7%. Conversion rate direct to store was over 4%. TikTok was next in line with a 3.94 conversion rate. And all the way down here is Pinterest at $41.26. But look at the number of sessions, 21,842 and only 5 orders. And I'm still not 100% sure that this is right because this just seems too far off. So I don't know if something is wrong with the pixel that connects Pinterest to Shopify, or if the marketing was so bad or so broad. It's not bad, but it's too broad. So the people that were coming to visit the site were not people who actually wanted to start a business selling digital products. They maybe were just shopping for a finished product, which I do sell the finished products on here, but my target audience is for people wanting to start a business. And so this is where I've been working with my virtual assistant and having her change the way that we market on Pinterest so that we continue to get the traffic from Pinterest, but we also get more sales from Pinterest because this is an insane amount of sessions over 6 months to come from Pinterest to only make $41.26. So I pulled the numbers inside of Pinterest, and I actually feel like because they have been making updates, you can see that this slide shows that it's beta, which means that they're still working on how all the conversions calculate from Pinterest to outside websites. So this shows in 90 days that there's been $135 in sales, which is more than what it was saying previously. And it's definitely more than what it says inside of my Shopify account. So I think that they're still working on understanding the, connections between the pixels from Pinterest and Shopify and those types of things. So I do feel like we get a lot more sales from Pinterest than is being attributed to it, because it doesn't make sense to have that many visits from Pinterest and not very many sales. So I'll keep you guys posted on these statistics as they roll them out from beta into, available for everyone so that you guys can kind of see how that works. So this is kind of how that conversion breaks down on here. And the orders where it says $0 is where somebody came over and got the passive income book for free. And that's why it's a $0 order. That's the only reason that the $0 orders exist. My Kajabi I just got my website up on Kajabi this last week. And so now this will start showing up in the stats too. So I'm super curious how that is going to play out as well. But so this is what 6 months looks like, you guys. Let's look at the 6 months analytics. All right, so we've made almost 15,000 in profit, or I say in gross sales on Shopify. Our online conversion rate is 1.85%, which is not terrible. I really feel like this is going to be even better after this month. 36,000 online store sessions. And let's see what else. Returning customers are at 14%, which is pretty good for the lifetime. And you can see that number is kind of increasing as the months go on of returning customers, which is great, but then also still a great amount of new customers coming in every single month. I do want to take a quick look at the 6 months review for Etsy as well. And there's not as many stats that I can really pull up in here, but I thought I would show you the main page where it shows our total number of visits was 9,629. Total number of orders was 400. Conversion rate is super high on Etsy at 4.2%. And our total revenue was $4,797.73. So here are my takeaways from this 6 months experiment. Running two platforms isn't a terrible thing, especially if you have someone else that's running the other one, which, that is what it is. But, the difference in the two is twofold. Number one, you own and run your Shopify store. You are in charge. You do not have to worry about who's shutting down whom. You don't have to worry about fees going up. You don't have to worry about all of that stuff. Well, I mean, you do have to worry about fees going up, I guess. It's possible that Shopify could raise their fees. That's always a possibility. But, it's not knee-jerk reaction type stuff like Etsy. It's like, oh, hey, we're shutting down all these shops this month or this week because we don't like the way that the mock-ups are. We changed the words in our rules, but didn't really make it clear that we changed the rules in our words in our rules. And so we're going to shut all these shops down. Like, that's what you deal with Etsy. That and just the amount of fees, you guys. Again, less than $1,000 in sales and $218 in fees. Whereas on Shopify, we had almost $2,000 in sales and only $152 in fees. And that's all in. That's all in. Now, I will have to start collecting the taxes and the VAT on, because we've hit those thresholds. But then this total revenue will also increase because that number is included in that. And then we'll just take that out on the fees side. So, running your own shop on Shopify, I would say the best things about it are, you're in control. And if you do not mind marketing for yourself, then, easy peasy. Now, you could obviously pay for ads, but paying for ads, I would hire an expert. I really would. Like, if I was going to pay for ads, which I may do in January, I may decide, you know what, I'm going to do some paid ads just to see what happens. But I've really stuck to my guns on not paying for ads other than this one attempt at boosting the store, which again, do not recommend. And you can go back and watch, I believe this was my second month. So it would be the second month in review. So you can go back and watch that video here if you want to see the company that I used and what all of this money was about. You're in control. You don't have a bunch of crazy fees coming out for all the things. You don't have, what your amount is going to be every month as far as fees go. And again, you guys, the sales amount is just crazy compared to what we're getting on Etsy. And the other thing with Etsy is, not only do you have all of the fees and stuff, but you're competing against other shops. And, you're having to run sales to compete with their sales and draw people in. And, whereas if you have people on your own site and they're just there, then there is no competition. You are your own competition. So if you can pull them in and then you can convert them to a sale, then, they're not shopping around with, all these other vendors that are on the same site. It's just you. So, that's my 2 cents worth. So all in total revenue, we have just under $20,000 in revenue in 6 months from brand new shop, brand new store, brand new business. Like, this is not even anything that we had ever done before. We have our print on demand, we have our drop shipping, we have our Amazon store, I have my YouTube channel, my husband does sales, we have we have 8 streams of income. And so this was a brand new one that I was completely unsure what it would turn into, and it's turned into an additional, $20,000 in 6 months. I mean, who could not use an extra $20,000 in 6 months, or in a year, $50,000, $40,000, $50,000 in a year? And, I have no doubt that this is only going to grow as we continue to work and shift and figure all the things out. But, yeah, so if you could use an extra $20,000 in the next 6 months to help pay for some things, then make sure that you are watching the tutorials. I do have some of my courses listed. I will link those up below. You can obviously go through and watch all of my content on YouTube for free. The courses, there is going to be things in the courses that are not on YouTube, but you can also sift through all the YouTube videos and get a lot of the content that are on my courses. It's just not going to be like concise modules of step one, step two, step three, like it's going to be in the courses. So, I want it to be available for anybody. So like whenever I first started working for myself, when I had babies at home and trying to figure out how in the world I could stay home and make money, I didn't have money to pay for a course. And so that is why I do YouTube, is to create all of the free things for people who just don't have the money to invest in themselves at that point. The courses obviously is gonna, there's coaching that is involved with that. So you get, access to me and monthly coaching. Depending on what level you're at, you may get more than the monthly coaching if you're at the higher tiers of the products. But again, I just want to make sure that I have something out there for everyone that's wanting to get started, no matter where you're at in that journey. All right. The next video, I'm going to really dive into how I feel like we're getting the traffic from Google and from Pinterest to our website, what we're doing, and what you can, take away from that to help you possibly to increase the traffic to your own website to make these kind of sales. If you have any questions, put them in the comments below. As always, thanks a lot for watching.